Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe. After his official work, he began to devote the rest of his time to the study of religious books, Namjap, and Kirtan. After some time, he got the news of the death of his father. The news filled his heart with great pain and remorse, because after he had come out of home, he never went back, and his father died without fulfilling his cherished desire for seeing his son and grandson. He relinquished the post of governor and went back to Kolkata because the burden of managing the estate of his father had now fallen upon him. He began to look after the affairs of the estate, but he often asked himself the question, does this estate, together with all the wealth of which I am now the master, serve the real purpose of life? If not, why should I not seek the path of bhakti, which promises not only eternal peace and happiness, but also the eternal company and the loving service of the twin lords of my heart, Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna seemed to attract him to Vrindavan, but the thought of his duty towards his widowed mother, wife, and children, and perhaps a desire that still lurked somewhere in his mind, the desire of enjoying, at least for the time being, the opulence at his command, pulled him in the opposite direction. The conflict continued in his mind until he heard the call of Radharani. With the call came the final decision, which took him to Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, he lived the life of a recluse. From morning till evening, he spent the day in bhajan. In the evening, he went out for madhukari and contented himself with eating whatever he got. His heart wept to see the condition of some of the old temples and their deities, who were not being properly served. He wished that he could do something to improve their condition. But he could only wish, because he was now a beggar, poor man. However, a thought came to his mind. He said to himself, I am a beggar, but not my lord. My lord is the owner of the big fortune I have left in Kolkata. Out of that, I can give to my wife and children their legitimate share, and spend the rest in the service of the Lord, while I continue to live only on what I get in alms. He started working on this plan. He got 25 lakh of rupees from his jamidari. Jamidari is estate, from his estate in Bengal and Bihar. With this money, he started purchasing extensive land and property in Vraja. Altogether, he purchased 74 paragan, or extensive land comprised of many villages. He used the income from the land in repairing old temples and constructing new temples and rest houses, and making arrangements for proper service of the deities in the temples. He also planned to build a beautiful temple of Radha Krishna in Vrindavan, with arrangements for providing food to hundreds of sadhus and the poor every day. The construction of the temple was started. Lala Babu had often to go to Rajasthan to purchase high-class stone for the temple. On the way, while going and coming, he had to stop at Bharatpur for a day or two to stay with the Maharaj of Bharatpur, who was his old friend. On account of his intimacy with the Maharaj, he once got into great trouble. At that time, East India Company was having negotiations for a treaty with the Rajas of Rajasthan, with the kings of Rajasthan. The Maharaj of Bharatpur's role was important in the treaty. The Maharaj, for some reason, refused to sign the treaty. Some people told Sir Charles Metcalfe, East India Company's resident in Delhi, that the Maharaj was willing to sign the treaty, but he changed his mind on account of the advice of Lala Babu. Metcalfe, therefore, got Lala Babu arrested and brought to Delhi for legal proceedings. Radhe Radhe. In Gurudev's room, can somebody mute microphone maybe?
So, what can I have to
Oh.
Jai Gurudev ki jai.
So, the news of Lala Babu's arrest spread like wildfire in the whole of Vraja. Thousands of Vrajabasis rushed to Delhi to protest against his arrest. Metcalfe, this Englishman, was surprised and also somewhat worried to see that Lala Babu wielded so much influence in Vraja. He postponed the proceedings against him and sent his spies to Vraja to make necessary investigations and report about his past history and character. Their report opened the eyes of Metcalfe. He set Lala Babu free and apologized to him. He also offered to give him the title of Maharaj, which he declined with thanks. In due course, Lala Babu's grand and beautiful temple was built in Vrindavana in the area known as Brahma Kund. Beautiful deities of Sri Krishna and Radha were installed. Prana Pratishta ceremony, or a ritual usually performed at the time of installation of deities to bring them to life, the Prana Pratishta ceremony was also performed. The deities of Sri Krishna, Sri Radha Krishna, were named Sri Krishna Chandrama. Arrangements were made in the guest house for feeding hundreds of people with prasad every day. But Lala Babu continued to beg food for himself, as before, from the Vrajavasis. One day, in the coldest month of January, as Lala Babu was looking at the handsome figure of Sri Krishna Chandrama, a strange thought came to his mind. He asked the pujari to keep a small lump of butter on the head of the deity. The pujari looked at Lala Babu with surprise. Lala Babu said, Yes, do as I say. I want to see whether the deity is really alive after Prana Pratishta. If alive, the butter should melt on account of the heat of the head. And remember, this was in January. The pujari had to obey. A small quantity of butter was kept on the head of Sri Krishna Chandrama. After some time, the butter actually melted and began to flow down the cheeks of the deity. The pujari and the other devotees present in the temple on the occasion cried aloud with tears of joy in their eyes. Shri Krishna Chandrama ki jai! Shri Krishna Chandrama ki jai! Lala Babu was so overwhelmed with bhava that he fell unconscious on the ground. Once again, Lala Babu wanted to test the deity. He thought that if there was heat on the head of the deity, there must also be breath in his nose. Why not test that also? He gave a piece of cotton to the pujari and asked him to hold it close to the nose of the deity. Laughingly, the pujari held the cotton close to the deity's nose. The cotton began to vibrate on account of exhalation, of breathing. Lala Babu was again overwhelmed with bhava. Not being able to contain the bhava, he began to roll on the ground. He was satisfied that prana pratishta was successfully done. No one should, however, think that prana pratishta ceremony alone is sufficient to infuse life into the deity. What is of greater importance is the bhava of the devotee. The deity lives and moves and appears or disappears according to the bhava of the devotee. It was Lala Babu's bhava that enabled the deity to pass the two tests successfully. The deity always responds to the heart of a devotee. This is actually interesting that only deities of Lakshmi Narayan and all the deities like in Aishwarya mood should be like that installed, but Radha and Krishna actually they are coming from the heart of a devotee. That's the main. There is no installation actually for Radha and Krishna in Raganuga because they are coming from heart. There is no need for installation because they are already in the heart and they just enter the deities. So one day, Krishna Chandrama told Lala Babu in a dream, I am pleased with your service, but I beg of you one more thing. Beg, Prabhu, you have only to order this humble servant. Kindly let me know what more I can do for you. You do not know, Lala Babu, that I am a beggar by birth. I go about asking for alms from my devotees, though there is nothing that I do not possess, and there is no place where I do not live. I prefer to eat what my devotees give and to live in the temples they built for me. You have made a temple for me in which I live with pleasure. But I want that you should build one more temple. One more temple? You know, Prabhu, that I'm a beggar, a poor man. All the money I got from Jamidar, from the estate, has already been spent. How can I build another temple? I know, Krishna saying, I know that you have renounced everything and that there is not a shell left that you can call your own. But the kind of temple I want you to build is built only when a man has renounced everything. When a man renounces everything, he builds a temple in his heart. I love to live in that temple more than even in Vaikunta. You have made so many temples outside. Make one within so that I may live there eternally. I am standing at your door today and asking for this bhiksha, or this alms, mercy. Wow. Oh, wow, beautiful. So he said, Lala Babu said on this, then Prabhu, kindly let me know what I should do to make my heart a temple for you. You first go around Vraja. See all the different places associated with my Lila. Then do bhajana in Govardhan. As you advance in bhajana, you will yourself come to know what you have to do to make your heart a proper dwelling place for me. It's so beautiful that actually our Ishtadev mostly likes to live in our hearts. And with our bhajana, we exactly learn what we need to do to make that heart the best place for them. So this is so beautiful. Melts heart to know actually that they want to live in our hearts. And that is that. We want them, come here, come to my heart. My heart is your home. This we want. So Lala Babu went out on pilgrimage in Vraja. He saw all the holy places associated with Krishna Lila, and then began to live in a cave in Govardhan and do bhajan. Every morning he went on parikram of Giriraj. After parikram, he did bhajana in the cave throughout the day. Late in the evening, he went out for Madhukari. One day, while he was out on parikram, the pujari of the temple of Giriraj said, Baba, do not go for Madhukari today. I shall myself go to your cave this evening and give you the prasad of Giriraj. In the evening, it started raining and continued to rain till night. The rain was so torrential that it was impossible for the pujari to go out. There was no end to his anxiety for Lala Babu, who he thought must be very hungry because he took prasad only once after the day's parikram and bhajana. When the rain slowed down, he thought of going to Lala Babu with prasad. He had already kept a plate filled with prasad for him inside the temple. When he went inside the temple, he was surprised to find that the plate was missing. There was no time to think how the plate could have disappeared. Quickly, he arranged for another plate of prasad and proceeded towards the cave. As soon as he reached the Lala Babu said, What is this, Pujari? What more have you brought? I have not been able to eat all that you have brought before. See, it is still lying there. The Pujari was surprised to see the missing plate and prasad in Lala Babu's cave. Who brought it? He shouted at once. Lala Babu looked amazingly at the Pujari and said, What? Do you mean to say that you did not bring it? I neither brought it nor sent it through anyone. No. You brought it. I chastised you for coming all the way in rain and getting badly wet, but you only smiled and went away. I wonder how you have forgotten everything so soon. Have you taken bhanga? Or this is some Indian narcotic. Have you taken bhanga? The pujari knew that he had not taken this medicine, this narcotic. He kept looking at Lala Babu for some time with tears flowing profusely from his eyes, and then suddenly, stretching his hand to touch his feet, he said, Baba, you are fortunate. You have so won over Giriraj by your love, that he could not see you hungry, and himself came to you in my form in the rain with prasad. Wow. On hearing this, Lala Babu's entire body was filled with Ashtasattva bhavas, and he fell unconscious on the ground. On regaining consciousness, he began to say with tears flowing from his eyes and throat choked with emotion, "Prabhu, you took so much trouble for this undeserving servant of yours, who could not even recognize you. How can anyone recognize you if you do not want to be recognized? But if you can be so kind to an undeserving servant, why come in disguise? Is that not to intensify his suffering in separation?" For many years, Lala Babu had mentally accepted Siddha Krishnadas Babaji of Govardhan as his guru. One day he requested him for Diksha, initiation. He replied, "The time for your Diksha has not yet come. Some subtle samskaras of your previous worldly life are still present and affecting your bhajan. You must burn them in the fire of Vairagya, or detachment world. When that is done, I shall myself come and give you Diksha. You do not have to come to me." Lala Babu continued his bhajana with renewed vigor, renewed strength. Although not yet initiated, he lived like a Babaji. He wore cloth of Babaji and lived on Madhukari like the Babajis of Vraja. Quite some time passed like this. Still, Diksha seemed to be far off. Lala Babu often used to go to Vrindavana to see whether the service and the distribution of prasad in the temple of Shri Krishna Chandrama was going on satisfactorily. This time, when he went there, he wept before the deity and said, "Prabhu, I know that I have not yet Prabhu, I know that I have not yet been able to build the temple you had asked me to build in my heart. My guru told me that I still have some samskaras which make my heart impure. But unless I know what those samskaras are, how can I try to remove them? I am blind. Unless you help me, I will never know them. I will always remain impure, and the temple you want shall never be built." That night, Lala Babu could not sleep. He passed the whole night weeping and praying. He had never wept so much before. The tears washed away his impurity. When he got up in the morning, his vision was clear. He could clearly see the samskaras that had been affecting his bhajan. How this is interesting. This is the point. Many devotees who came to this, this situation, that they honestly cried for something, honestly cried, "Please guide me, show me. I'm blind, I am deaf, but give me eyes, give me ears, that I can see, that I can understand." But when they really did this honestly, fully, with power, with strong desire from their hearts, Radha and Krishna could not be on the side. They would give to the devotee that. So sometimes we need to see how much we are crying for this, how much we are crying for the vision, how much we are crying for the association of our Ishtadev. And I'm seeing that this book and books like this, when we are reading about other siddhas, other devotees, that these can help us, that we get that desire, that we see it can be done, that it's not so far away, that it's possible. And when we are reading from others, about others, we can be inspired to desire the same. So he could clearly see what was affecting his bhajan. So he said to himself, I have renounced the world and all its pomps and vanities, but have I renounced the vanity of vanities, the vanity of renunciation? Wow, what a question. Renouncing the renunciation, because sometimes renunciant can be attached to renunciation. Interesting. Does not the subtle pride of renunciation still lurk in my mind? Do I not, in my heart of heart, regard myself as superior to the people who have not renounced? Is my mind completely free from hatred or malice? No, it's not. At least there is one person to whom I still bear malice, and that is Seth Lakshmi Chanda. Or one person, Seth Lakshmi Chanda. He was not mentioned before. If I did not bear malice to him, I should have gone to him for Madhukari, just as I have gone to other people living close to him. So he was feeling something bad about him, so he didn't go to him to get Madhukari. So is that not a clear proof that I still bear malice against him? Seth Lakshmichanda was the builder of the famous temple of Rangaji in Vrindavan. He was a rival of Lala Babu and his competitor in all such activities as the construction of the temples, almsgiving, and the service of sadhus. So he was in competition. Lala Babu had also filed a court suit against him in connection with a dispute regarding the ownership of some land in Vrindavana, which he had won. But the old malice or bad feelings against him was still learning in his mind. As soon as he became aware of it, he decided to amend it. One day, there was a big crowd of beggars in front of Rangaji's temple. In the crowd, there also stood a handsome-looking beggar with a beggar's bag hanging from his shoulder. He was beating karatals and singing Harinam, and tears were flowing from his eyes. He was easily recognized by the guard at the door. At once, the guard went in and told Sethji, Lala Babu is standing at your door for bhiksha, for alms. So Sethji was stunned. But in a few moments he collected himself and ordered for a plate with 100 gold mohurs, flour, rice, pulses, and fruits. He himself went out with the plate, respectfully bowed down before Lala Babu and said, Babuji, I am extremely grateful to you for kindly coming and sanctifying this place by your holy presence. Kindly favor me by accepting this plate. Lala Babu said, Sethji, I came to you for bhiksha, but what you are giving does not look like bhiksha. You are correct, retorted the Seth. What I am giving is not bhiksha. You are Raja, though outwardly a beggar. I am not capable of giving Viksha to Vraja. I had the foolhardiness to enter into a conflict with you, in which I was defeated. This is my second defeat. In the first defeat, you had captured what I supposed was my land. In this defeat, you have captured my heart. You are now the Raja, the sovereign, the ruler of my heart. What I am giving you, therefore, is not Bhiksha, but Nazarana, or present given to a Raja or landlord. So this is Nazarana in recognition of your rulership over my heart. No, no, said G. A poor person is always a poor person. He does not deserve this present. Kindly give me only a handful of rice from the plate. I ask for one more Viksha. If knowingly or unknowingly I have ever committed any offense against you, kindly excuse me and bless me, so that my heart is purified and I become worthy of the mercy of Krishna. Lala Babu was in tears when he said this. Setji also began to shed tears. Both were overwhelmed with emotion. Both clasped each other and drowned each other in each other's tears. When Lala Babu was returning to his temple, on the way he saw Mahatma Krishnadas coming towards him with a meaningful smile on his face. Soon after Lala Babu had done Dandavat, he patted him on his back and said, "My son, the time for your Diksha has come." Let's see how much this story has. Oh. On hearing this, there was no end of Lala Babu's happiness. On an auspicious day, he was initiated. After initiation, the Guru said, "Now you go back to your cave and practice sadhana. Do not come out of the cave and do not see the face of any man until you have the darshan of Krishna." Lala Babu began to do sadhana strictly according to the advice of his guru. After some years, he was blessed with the darshan of Sri Krishna. His heart was also turned into a temple for Sri Krishna, and Krishna Lila always unfolded itself to him on the screen of his heart. Soon after, Lala Babu became famous as a Siddha Mahatma, and people from different places began to come to him for darshan and advice. Once Maharaj Sindhya came to him, he laid himself prostrate at his feet and prayed for Diksha. Lala Babu said, "Maharaj, Diksha alone will not do. Krishna wants that you should stretch both of your hands towards him. If you hold the world with one hand and try to touch Krishna's feet with the other, you will never be able to touch him. Are you prepared to stretch both hands towards Krishna?" Maharaj was not prepared to stretch both hands. He said, "Maharaj, what you say is correct. This path is not meant for worldly persons like me." He performed Dandavat at the feet of Lala Babu and left. Slowly, Lala Babu's life stream became leaner and leaner. One day, he asked the people who surrounded him to take him to the bank of Yamuna. There, he left his body, chanting the name of Krishna and seeing Krishna. So this was the story of Lala Babu. So nice, so nice. And some beautiful things we could hear in this story.
Radhe Radhe